The terse communique arrived without fanfare or preamble. 4 words materializing on secure terminals across Earth's United Nations headquarters in New York. Application denied. Information recorded. Maya Hill, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Conclave, stood motionless as the message flashed across her screen. 3 centuries of observation by the Conclave, decades of careful preparation by humanity, countless diplomatic overtures, all dismissed with brutal efficiency. Behind her, the collected representatives of Earth's unified government waited in silence, their expressions a tapestry of shock, disappointment, and quiet fury. "What should our response be, Ambassador?" asked Secretary General Alvarez, her voice steady despite the tension filling the room. Maya considered for precisely 9 seconds before typing 3 words. Information acknowledged. End transmission. No threats, no negotiations, no desperate pleas for reconsideration, just acknowledgement. And then, silence. In the vast, crystalline chambers of the Conclave headquarters on Naxios Prime, that silence would prove more unsettling than any protest could have been. Supreme Counselor Naxion, the highest representative of the Conclave, leaned forward in his elevated seat, all 4 of his eyes narrowing as he studied the Earth response. The massive, cathedral-like hall around him buzzed with the quiet murmurs of 17 different species, each representing a founding civilization of the Galactic Conclave. "That's it?" Drevto, the Saurian delegate, rumbled from his position 3 seats to the right. His exoskeleton clicked with agitation. "The humans simply accept our judgment?" Xandria, representative of the Luminary Collective, shifted uncomfortably, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with waves of uncertain blue. "This is unprecedented. Lesser civilizations always protest, bargain, or threaten when denied admission. They've done none of these things." The Supreme Counselor raised a hand for silence, his gray-tinted scales reflecting the soft, ambient light. "Perhaps they finally recognize their place in the galactic order. Earth is primitive by our standards. Barely 3 centuries since we began observing them. Their acceptance of our decision shows wisdom, if nothing else." But the silence continued. For 1 standard week, not a single transmission was received from Earth. No diplomatic channels were engaged. No trade representatives made contact. Earth's observation satellites maintained their orbits, their automated responses functioning normally. But human operators remained conspicuously absent. By the 2nd week, unease had spread through the Conclave's inner council. The Supreme Counselor called an emergency session. "This cannot be normal behavior," Medusan Representative Andrethu said, their tentacular appendages writhing with anxiety. Even the most stoic of civilizations would have made some diplomatic overture by now. "I propose we summon the Earth Ambassador for questioning," Drevto suggested, his mandibles clicking with barely concealed aggression. "Perhaps their silence hides more sinister intentions." "Ambassador Hill has made no attempt to leave Naxios Prime," Xandria noted, her skin now pulsing a cautious amber. "She continues her daily routines, visits the diplomatic quarter, and attends cultural events as if nothing has changed." The Supreme Counselor nodded gravely. "Summon her. I want to know what game Earth is playing." Maya Hill entered the chamber with measured steps. Her simple blue diplomatic uniform, a stark contrast to the ornate, ceremonial garb of the Conclave representatives. At 42, she carried herself with the confident poise of someone accustomed to high-stakes negotiations. Her dark hair pulled back in a practical style, her expression pleasant but unreadable. "Ambassador Hill," the Supreme Counselor began, "your world silence has become a matter of concern. We expected some form of diplomatic communication following our decision." Maya smiled slightly. "Supreme Counselor, we acknowledged receipt of your message. What further communication was required? An appeal, perhaps? A request for reconsideration? Some expression of disappointment, at the very least." Would any of those have changed your decision? Maya asked, her tone remaining conversational. The silence that followed was answer enough. Then we saw no purpose in such communications, she continued. Earth respects the Conclave's autonomy in making its decisions, just as we expect our autonomy to be respected in turn. And yet this behavior is highly unusual, Drevto interjected, leaning forward aggressively. Most worlds in your position would seek to understand the specific criteria they fail to meet. Are you suggesting we're hiding something? Representative Drevto? Maya asked, her expression now openly amused. Perhaps, the Saurian growled. Your military activities have increased by 17% in the past cycle. Defensive preparations, Maya corrected smoothly. The denial of our application leaves Earth vulnerable without Conclave protection. Surely you understand our need to ensure our own security. Through what means? Xandria inquired, her skin pulsing with rapid bursts of curiosity. Nothing that would concern the Conclave, Maya replied, with the same pleasant smile. We're simply organizing what we already have more efficiently. The exchange continued for another hour, with Maya deflecting every question with polite, seemingly transparent answers that revealed nothing of substance. When she finally departed, the chamber erupted in worried discussion. She revealed nothing, Medusan Representative Andrethu exclaimed, their tentacles contracting with frustration. On the contrary, the Supreme Counselor said quietly. She revealed that Earth is preparing for something. The question is, what? By the third week, the Conclave's patience had worn thin. The Supreme Counselor authorized a scout fleet to enter Earth's solar system, not as a show of force, but as a routine security assessment. Commander Kelzak of the Zexian fleet was assigned to lead the mission, with strict orders to maintain a non-threatening posture while gathering intelligence. The fleet of 7 ships entered the solar system at the standard deceleration point beyond Neptune's orbit. As expected, Earth's long-range sensors detected their arrival immediately. Yet again, there was no response, no protest, no welcome, no acknowledgement whatsoever. This is becoming unsettling, Commander Kelzak muttered, as his flagship, the Righteous Vigor, approached the orbital defense network surrounding Earth. Scan those satellites. I want to know their defensive capabilities. The results were unremarkable. Earth maintained a modest array of defensive platforms, kinetic weapons, basic energy shields, and early warning systems. Nothing that could pose a serious threat to Conclave technology. Sir, his communications officer reported, we're receiving a message from the surface. Text only. Display it, Kelzak ordered, his crest rising with anticipation. The message appeared on the main view screen. Weather in New York. Partly cloudy. 68 degrees. Coffee or tea? Commander Kelzak. The bridge fell silent. The message was utterly mundane, almost absurdly so, except for one critical detail. The Earth defense systems shouldn't have known Kelzak's name, much less his personal beverage preference. That information was contained in the Conclave's classified personnel files, accessible only to those with the highest security clearance. How did they... Kelzak began, but was interrupted by an urgent alert from his tactical officer. Sir, we've lost contact with the Righteous Vigor and the Unwavering Truth. They've vanished from our sensors. Kelzak whirled to face the officer. Impossible! They were just behind us in formation. Confirmed, sir. No distress signals, no debris, no energy signatures. They're simply gone. For precisely 9 minutes, the remaining 5 ships of the Zexian fleet maintained position, scanning desperately for their missing comrades. Then, without warning or explanation, both ships reappeared exactly where they had been, all systems functioning normally, crews unharmed and reporting no awareness of any disruption. Commander Kelzak immediately ordered a full retreat to the rendezvous point at the edge of the solar system. There, he sent an encrypted transmission to Naxius Prime with a simple message: Situation volatile, awaiting further instructions. The emergency session of the conclave that followed was the most chaotic in recent memory. Representatives from all 17 member civilizations demanded explanations, proposed theories, and called for various forms of action, from immediate military intervention to complete withdrawal from Earth's vicinity. They clearly possessed technology we were unaware of, Xandria stated, her skin now flashing alarming patterns of red and white. The ability to remove starships from normal spacetime without detection is beyond even our most advanced theoretical models. It's worse than that, the Supreme Counselor said grimly. They knew Kelzak's name and personal preferences. They've been in our secure databases. Impossible! Drevto slammed his armored appendage against the table. Our quantum encryption is unbreakable. No Earth technology could possibly— And yet they did, interrupted a calm voice from the entrance to the chamber. All eyes turned to see Maya Hill standing in the doorway, no longer wearing her diplomatic uniform, but instead dressed in a simple black suit that somehow managed to project both authority and serenity. Ambassador Hill, the Supreme Counselor acknowledged stiffly. You were not summoned to this session. I thought I'd save you the trouble, Maya replied, walking forward to stand at the center of the chamber, and correct some misconceptions before they lead to unfortunate decisions. Such as? Drevto challenged. Such as the belief that dispatching military vessels into Earth's sovereign space without permission was a wise course of action, Maya said, her tone hardening slightly. Or the assumption that Earth would not notice or respond to such an intrusion. Your ships were unharmed, the Supreme Counselor pointed out. Yes, because we chose restraint, Maya agreed. The vessels were temporarily relocated to a secure position until we could verify their intentions weren't hostile. Had they been, well, she let the implication hang in the air. You claim to have forcibly relocated Conclave military vessels? Medusan Representative Andrethu's voice rose nearly an octave in disbelief. With what technology? With technology we developed independently, Maya answered simply. Just as we developed the means to access your communication networks, security protocols, and classified databases. Earth has not been idle during the 3 centuries you've been observing us. The chamber erupted in outraged exclamations until the Supreme Counselor raised his hand for silence. Ambassador Hill, if what you say is true, these actions constitute espionage of the highest order against the Conclave. This alone would justify our rejection of Earth's application. Maya's expression didn't change. Supreme Counselor, with respect, Earth was rejected before any of these capabilities were revealed. We merely confirmed what we already suspected, that the Conclave had no intention of accepting Earth as an equal partner, regardless of our qualifications. And now? Xandria asked, her luminescence dimming with apprehension. What does Earth want now? 3 things, Maya said, holding up 3 fingers. First, reconsideration of Earth's application for membership, with proper deliberation rather than summary dismissal. Second, a bilateral technology exchange program based on mutual respect and benefit. Third, a permanent seat on the Inner Council. The chamber exploded in protest. The Supreme Counselor had to pound his ceremonial staff 3 times to restore order. These demands are preposterous, Drevto shouted. You infiltrate our systems, interfere with our military vessels, and then demand not only membership but a seat on the Inner Council? The audacity! Not demands, Maya corrected. Proposals, and they come with certain assurances. What assurances could possibly, the Supreme Counselor began. That Earth will immediately cease all unauthorized access to Conclave systems, Maya interrupted. That all vessels will be returned unharmed within the hour. That communications with the 6 core worlds currently experiencing unexplained technical difficulties will be restored. A wave of shock passed through the chamber as representatives hurriedly checked their communication devices. Confirming what Maya had just revealed, several major Conclave worlds had indeed lost contact with Naxios Prime. a fact that had not yet been widely reported. "This is blackmail," the Supreme Counselor said quietly. "This is negotiation," Maya countered. "Between equals." "And if we refuse?" Maya sighed, genuine regret crossing her features for the first time. "Then Earth will be forced to protect its interests independently. We would publish comprehensive analyses of the vulnerabilities in your FTL drive systems. We would maintain our access to your networks as a defensive measure. And we would continue to develop our technologies without the benefit of cooperation or ethical oversight from the broader galactic community." The silence that followed was profound. "You claim to want peace," Xandria said at last. "Yet these words sound like threats." "They're realities," Maya replied. "Earth wants peaceful cooperation, technological exchange, and cultural understanding. But we will not be dismissed as inferiors or treated as supplicants. We would rather stand alone than kneel." The Supreme Counselor conferred quietly with several members of the Inner Council for several minutes before addressing Maya again. "The conclave will require time to consider these proposals." "Of course," Maya nodded. "Earth will await your response. As a gesture of good faith, all conclave vessels have already been released from temporary relocation, and communications with the 6 affected worlds should be restored within the next hour." True to her word. By the time the emergency session adjourned, reports confirmed that all missing ships had returned to their previous positions, and communications with the isolated worlds had been restored. The Inner Council remained in closed deliberation for 3 days, during which Maya Hill returned to her quarters in the diplomatic quarter and waited. On the 4th day, she received a formal summons. The ceremonial hall of the conclave was illuminated by crystalline chandeliers that cast rainbow patterns across the polished floor. The 17 flags of the member civilizations hung from the vaulted ceiling, each representing billions of sentient beings across hundreds of worlds. Today, for the first time, they were joined by an 18th, the blue banner of Earth, showing the white silhouettes of its continents against a deep azure background. The Supreme Counselor stood at the center of the raised dais, flanked by the full membership of the Inner Council. His expression was carefully neutral as Maya approached. "Ambassador Hill, after extensive deliberation, the conclave has reached a decision regarding Earth's proposals." Maya waited silently. "The application for Earth's membership will be reopened for full consideration, with a preliminary status of under active review. A bilateral technology exchange program will be established, with appropriate safeguards for both parties. And," he paused almost imperceptibly, "a provisional seat on the Inner Council will be granted, pending final approval of full membership." Murmurs ran through the assembled representatives, but no voices were raised in protest. Whatever disagreements remained had apparently been settled behind closed doors. "Earth accepts these terms," Maya said simply. "And in the spirit of our new relationship, we wish to offer a gesture of trust and cooperation." At her signal, an aide stepped forward carrying a small crystalline sphere that glowed with a soft, blue-white light. Maya took it and held it up for all to see. "This contains the theoretical framework and practical implementation of what we call quantum positional transference. It allows for the instantaneous relocation of matter between points separated by hundreds of light years, with an energy expenditure of approximately 1,000th that required by conventional FTL drives." She placed the sphere on a small pedestal that had been prepared in advance. "This is not merely a demonstration of Earth's technological capabilities. It is a promise that we seek partnership, not dominance. That we believe in sharing knowledge, not hoarding it. That we understand the true strength of the conclave lies not in the power of individual members, but in what we can achieve together." As the Supreme Counselor stepped forward to accept the gift, his eyes met Maya's, and a moment of understanding passed between them. If managed wisely, humanity's entry into the galactic community could herald an unprecedented era of cooperation and advancement. If not, the established order might never be the same again. Either way, the silence was broken. Earth had declared its intentions without firing a shot, and the galaxy had listened. In the days that followed, Maya found herself surrounded by diplomatic representatives, eager to establish personal connections with Earth's ambassador. Some were clearly motivated by genuine curiosity. Others, by the desire to position their civilizations advantageously in the new political landscape. A few, she suspected, were simply assigned to gather intelligence on the newcomers who had so dramatically upset the established order. "Ambassador Hill," called a melodious voice as Maya crossed the grand atrium of the diplomatic quarter. She turned to see Xandria approaching, the luminary's skin glowing with gentle patterns of blue and gold that indicated cautious optimism. "Representative Xandria." Maya greeted her with a slight bow, the gesture of respect she had carefully calibrated for interactions with the luminaries. "How may I assist you today?" "I've been reviewing the theoretical principles behind your quantum positional transference," Xandria said, falling into step beside her. "It's remarkable. Our scientists believe it could revolutionize not just transportation but medicine, agriculture, even planetary climate control." "Those applications were among our first implementations," Maya confirmed, "before we even considered military uses." Xandria's glow flickered briefly. Surprise, perhaps, or skepticism. Truly, most species develop technologies in the opposite direction. "Earth has had enough of war," Maya said simply. "We've learned that lesson the hard way, many times over." They walked in silence for a moment before Xandria spoke again. "There are still those who fear you, you know, who believe this is all an elaborate strategy to infiltrate and eventually dominate the conclave." "And what do you believe, Representative?" Xandria's luminescence shifted to a thoughtful purple. "I believe that if domination were your goal, you wouldn't have revealed your capabilities so openly. You would have continued to observe from the shadows, gathering information until you were ready to strike." Maya smiled. "A perceptive analysis. Then why did you reveal yourselves? You must have known it would create alarm." "Because secrecy breeds suspicion, and suspicion leads to conflict," Maya replied. "We wanted to be seen for what we are, not what others might fear us to be." "And what are you, Ambassador Hill?" Xandria asked, her tone suddenly serious. "What is Earth, truly?" Maya paused, considering her words carefully. "We are explorers and creators, dreamers and builders. We carry the scars of countless wars and the wisdom they painfully taught us. We seek connection, but we will not sacrifice our dignity or security to achieve it." She met Xandria's gaze directly. "We are your equals, Representative Xandria. Nothing more, nothing less." The luminary's skin rippled with a complex pattern that Maya couldn't fully interpret. "Then, I look forward to the day when your provisional seat on the Inner Council becomes permanent." As Xandria departed, Maya continued toward her original destination, a secure communication facility where she could contact Earth. The conclave had agreed to establish a direct quantum link as part of the new diplomatic framework, and Maya needed to provide her first comprehensive report since the dramatic events of the past week. Secretary General Alvarez's holographic image materialized in the private chamber, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. "Ambassador Hill, congratulations on your successful negotiation. Earth is cautiously celebrating." "Caution is appropriate," Maya acknowledged. "We've opened a door, not walked through it entirely." "The Inner Council seat is more than we dared hope for," Alvarez noted, "though I understand it's provisional." "For now," Maya agreed. "It will become permanent once our full membership is approved. The technology exchange program is already being established. Teams of scientists from both sides are drafting protocols for the first joint research initiatives. And our other capabilities? Alvarez asked carefully. The ones that prompted this breakthrough? Maya's expression remained neutral, aware that despite the supposed security of the quantum link, there was always the possibility of surveillance. No longer actively deployed, as agreed, but maintained in reserve, should circumstances change. Alvarez nodded, understanding the subtext. Earth had not dismantled the technologies that had allowed it to access conclave systems or relocate their ships. They were simply dormant, ready to be reactivated if necessary. The Defense Council has questions about the technology package you shared. Alvarez continued. Specifically, whether you revealed the full extent of our quantum positional transference capabilities. I provided the theoretical framework and basic implementation, Maya clarified. The advanced applications, particularly those with military implications, were omitted. The Conclave will eventually develop those independently, but it will take them time. Time we can use to establish our position within the Conclave's political structure, Alvarez concluded. Very well. Your next steps? Cultural integration, Maya said immediately. Now that the political breakthrough has been achieved, we need to focus on building genuine relationships. I'm organizing a series of cultural exchanges, art exhibitions, scientific symposiums, culinary demonstrations. The more the conclave species come to see humans as individuals rather than an abstract threat, the more stable our position becomes. Approved, Alvarez said. And Maya, off the record, was it necessary, the show of force? Maya's expression softened slightly. They needed to see us clearly, not through the lens of their preconceptions. Sometimes, clarity requires a shock to the system. After the communication ended, Maya returned to her quarters to prepare for the next day's activities. Her diplomatic suite, though luxurious by Earth standards, was modest compared to those of long-established conclave representatives. She had deliberately maintained this simplicity. It reflected Earth's practical approach and avoided the ostentation that might further alarm those already wary of human intentions. As she reviewed her schedule, a notification appeared on her secure terminal, an invitation to a private dinner with the Supreme Counselor, scheduled for the following evening. Such an invitation was unprecedented. The Supreme Counselor rarely engaged in one-on-one interactions with representatives outside the Inner Council, and never in an informal setting. Maya accepted immediately, recognizing both the opportunity and the implied challenge. This would be a chance to establish a personal connection with the most influential figure in the conclave, but also, undoubtedly, an attempt to assess her true motivations away from the formal diplomatic setting. The dinner took place in a small, elegantly appointed chamber within the Supreme Counselor's private residence. The lighting was adjusted to a spectrum comfortable for both human and Naxian physiology, and the menu had been carefully crafted to include dishes palatable to both species. Ambassador Hill, the Supreme Counselor greeted her, rising from his seat as she entered. Thank you for accepting my invitation. The honor is mine, Supreme Counselor, Maya replied, taking the offered seat across from him. I appreciate the opportunity for a more personal discussion. A server, a bipedal synthetic entity with smooth, metallic features, placed the first course before them. A delicate arrangement of cultivated proteins and botanical elements that resembled Earth cuisine, while incorporating Naxian flavor profiles. I thought we might dispense with titles for this evening, the Supreme Counselor suggested. I am Terax, when not burdened by official duties. Maya, she responded with a slight smile. Though I suspect old habits may be difficult to break. Terax made a gesture that Maya had come to recognize as the Naxian equivalent of a smile, a slight raising of the upper eye ridges. Indeed, particularly for those of us who have carried our titles for several centuries. Your longevity gives you a perspective I can only imagine, Maya acknowledged. You've witnessed the evolution of the conclave from its founding. Not quite from the founding, Terax corrected. I was appointed Supreme Counselor some 80 years after the Conclave's establishment. But yes, I have seen many changes. Many civilizations rise and fall in prominence within our alliance. And now Earth, Maya said. And now Earth. Terax agreed, his four eyes studying her intently. Which has managed, in the span of a few weeks, what other civilizations have not achieved in centuries, forcing the Conclave to reconsider its fundamental assumptions. Maya took a small bite of her food before responding. Was that not inevitable? The universe is vast, and the Conclave, for all its achievements, represents only a fraction of its potential. Perhaps, Terax admitted, but many of us had grown comfortable with our understanding of the cosmic hierarchy. Your world has reminded us that complacency is a dangerous luxury. Not our intention, Maya said. We sought recognition, not disruption. And yet disruption followed, Terax noted, his tone neutral rather than accusatory. Tell me, Maya, was your strategy planned from the beginning? Did Earth anticipate rejection and prepare accordingly? Maya considered her response carefully. This was not merely dinner conversation, but a diplomatic exchange of the highest order. We prepared for multiple scenarios, she said finally. Rejection was among them, though not our preferred outcome. The specific response, the silence, the demonstration of capabilities, was determined after we received your initial decision. A decision I now recognize was hasty, Terax admitted, surprising Maya with his candor. Based on outdated assessments of Earth's development. The Conclave's observation protocols have limitations, Maya acknowledged diplomatically. They measure visible infrastructure, official communications, apparent technological achievements. They miss what happens in the shadows. And much of Earth's development occurred in the shadows, Terax concluded. Deliberately? Not initially, Maya said. But once we became aware of Conclave observation, yes, we compartmentalized certain research initiatives, not out of hostility, but from a natural desire for self-determination. Terax nodded slowly. A reasonable precaution, though I wonder what else remains in those shadows. Ambassador, Maya. No more surprises on the scale of what you've already witnessed, she assured him. We've shown our hand, as the human expression goes. Have you? Terax asked, his tone making it clear he doubted this. Maya smiled. Would you believe me if I claimed otherwise? This drew a sound from Terax that Maya recognized as the Naxian version of a chuckle, a series of soft, clicking exhalations. You are refreshingly direct, Maya Hill. Most representatives would have offered elaborate assurances, which you would not have believed, she pointed out. I prefer honesty where possible. Earth has capabilities beyond what we've demonstrated. Yes, as I'm certain the Conclave does as well. Neither of us has fully revealed our hand, nor should we expect the other to have done so. A pragmatic perspective, Terax acknowledged. And yet you've shared significant technology with us. As a gesture of good faith, Maya confirmed. And because isolation serves neither Earth nor the Conclave, we believe in the potential of cooperation, even after our initial rejection. Especially after that, Maya said firmly. It demonstrated that the path to meaningful partnership would require more than conventional diplomacy. It would require a fundamental reset of perceptions. Terax was silent for a moment, his four eyes blinking in the deliberate pattern that indicated deep thought among Naxians. You've succeeded in that. At least, the Conclave will never view Earth, or itself, quite the same way again. The remainder of the dinner passed in discussion of less weighty matters, cultural comparisons, philosophical perspectives, even a few carefully selected personal anecdotes. By the time Maya departed, she felt she had established, if not friendship, then at least a basis for mutual respect with the most powerful individual in the Conclave. The following weeks saw rapid progress in Earth's integration into the Conclave's structures, The technology exchange program officially launched with the establishment of joint research facilities on 3 neutral worlds. Earth's provisional seat on the Inner Council was formalized, with Maya taking her place among the elite governing body of the Galactic Alliance. Not all developments were positive. However, a faction of conservative representatives, led by Drevto of Soria, continued to express grave concerns about Earth's rapid elevation. They pointed to the still unexplained methods by which human systems had penetrated conclave security, arguing that a civilization capable of such infiltration could not be trusted with inner council access. Representative Drevto makes a compelling argument. Medusan. Representative Andrethu acknowledged during one particularly heated inner council session. We still don't fully understand how Earth accomplished what it did. How can we be certain these capabilities won't be turned against us in the future? The same way Earth can be certain the Conclave's military capabilities won't be turned against it. Maya countered calmly. Through transparency, mutual interest, and the progressive building of trust. Fine words. Drevto clicked dismissively, his mandibles shifting in the pattern that indicated skepticism. But Earth demanded trust while demonstrating precisely why it shouldn't be trusted. Earth demonstrated that it would not accept dismissal based on outdated perceptions. Maya corrected. We revealed capabilities we could have kept hidden, precisely to establish a more honest relationship moving forward. After using those capabilities coercively, Drevto pointed out. After using them defensively, Maya countered. In response to an uninvited military presence in our sovereign space, Supreme Counselor Terax raised a hand for silence before the exchange could escalate further. These debates, while important, do not advance our immediate agenda. The provisional agreement has been established. Earth has adhered to its terms. The technology exchange is proceeding as agreed. Unless there is evidence of new breaches of conclave security, we must move forward under the current framework. Drevto subsided, though his posture made it clear the matter was far from resolved in his mind. Maya made a mental note to arrange a private meeting with the Saurian representative. His opposition, if left to fester, could become a significant obstacle to Earth's full integration. After the session, Xandria approached Maya in the corridor outside the council chamber. A challenging discussion, the luminary observed, her skin pulsing with sympathetic blues. But necessary, Maya acknowledged. Drevto's concerns are not entirely unfounded, from his perspective. Better they be expressed openly than harbored in silence. You continue to surprise me, Ambassador Hill, Xandria said. Most would take offense at such direct questioning of their trustworthiness. Trust must be earned, Maya replied simply. Earth understands this. We don't expect immediate acceptance, only the opportunity to demonstrate our value as partners over time. The preliminary reports from the technology exchange are impressive, Xandria noted, changing the subject slightly. Your quantum positional transference has already enabled a breakthrough in medical supply distribution to remote colonies. 3 worlds in the Marin sector that were suffering severe shortages have received critical materials. Maya nodded, genuine satisfaction warming her expression. That was among our first implementations on Earth as well. There's something particularly rewarding about using advanced technology for such direct humanitarian purposes. Indeed, Xandria agreed, her luminescence brightening. It may interest you to know that opinion among the general population of conclave worlds has shifted significantly in Earth's favor since those deliveries began. Public sentiment is a powerful force, even in a structure as ostensibly rational as the conclave. I'm counting on it, Maya admitted. Political integration is necessary but insufficient. True acceptance will come when the average citizen of a conclave world sees humanity as a valuable addition to the galactic community. A wise approach, Xandria observed, and one that may serve you well in the upcoming elevation ceremony. Maya raised an eyebrow slightly. I wasn't aware that a date had been set. It hasn't been officially announced, Xandria confirmed. But the preparatory committees have been formed. The Supreme Counselor appears to be accelerating the process. Interesting, Maya murmured. The elevation ceremony would mark Earth's transition from provisional to full member status, a development she had expected would take months, if not years, to achieve. Do you know why? Xandria's skin rippled with cautious patterns. There are rumors that certain technological developments have impressed the Supreme Counselor more than anticipated, and perhaps concerns that delays might lead Earth to reconsider its commitments. Earth's commitments are firm, Maya assured her, but the accelerated timeline is welcome news nonetheless. After Xandria departed, Maya made her way to the secure communication facility to update Earth on these developments. Secretary General Alvarez would need to begin preparations for the elevation ceremony, a historic moment that would require careful orchestration on the human side as well. As she entered the facility, however, a notification flashed on her personal device, an urgent request for a meeting from Drevto, the Saurian representative who had been most vocal in his opposition to Earth's inclusion. The timing was unexpected, but potentially fortuitous. Maya had already determined that a private conversation with Drevto was necessary. She accepted the request, specifying a neutral location within the diplomatic quarter, a contemplation garden designed to accommodate multiple species' comfort requirements. The Saurian's acknowledgement came immediately, suggesting he had been waiting for her response. The garden was nearly empty when Maya arrived. Just a few diplomatic aides from minor worlds, conversing quietly among the exotic botanical specimens. Drevto was already present, his imposing exoskeletal form positioned beside a reflective pool that contained luminescent aquatic organisms from his homeworld. Representative Drevto, Maya greeted him, maintaining formal protocol despite the informal setting. Thank you for suggesting this meeting. The Saurian's mandibles clicked once, a gesture that could indicate either acknowledgement or irritation. Maya had not yet mastered all the subtleties of Saurian expression. Ambassador Hill, he responded, his voice a gravelly rumble through the translator. I thought it best we speak directly, without the political theater of the council chamber. I agree, Maya said, taking a position beside him at the pool's edge. Open disagreement in formal settings has its place, but private understanding often accomplishes more. Understanding, Drevto repeated, a hint of something like amusement in his tone. Is that what you seek, Ambassador? Or merely compliance with Earth's agenda? I seek partnership, Maya replied evenly, which requires understanding on both sides. Your concerns about Earth are not without foundation, from your perspective. I acknowledge this. This appeared to surprise the Saurian. His upper appendages shifted, in a pattern Maya recognized as reassessment. You admit this freely. Why wouldn't I? Earth demonstrated capabilities that alarmed the Conclave. We interfered with your vessels, accessed your secure systems. These actions, while defensive in our view, appeared threatening from yours. She met his compound eyes directly. In your position, I would have similar concerns. Drevto was silent for a moment, his exoskeleton shifting slightly as he considered her words. Your candor is unexpected, but necessary for genuine dialogue, Maya pointed out. So let me be even more direct. What would convince you that Earth's intentions are cooperative rather than dominating? Transparency, Drevto said immediately. Full disclosure of the methods used to breach our security systems, so that such vulnerabilities can be addressed. Maya nodded. A reasonable request, and one I'm prepared to partially accommodate. Earth can provide general information about the vulnerability categories exploited, sufficient for the Conclave to implement appropriate countermeasures. The specific methodologies, however, remain classified, as I'm certain your own infiltration techniques are. Drevto's mandibles clicked rapidly, the Saurian equivalent of a considering hum. Acceptable, as a first step, and the technology used to relocate our vessels. The quantum positional transference you've shared doesn't fully explain the capability demonstrated. Because it was an advanced military application, Maya acknowledged. The civilian version we've shared is the foundation, but lacks certain refinements. Those we're prepared to discuss in the context of joint defense initiatives, once Earth's full membership is confirmed. You bargain well, Ambassador, Drevto observed, his tone now holding a note of reluctant respect. But tell me this. Why did Earth not simply continue its infiltration undetected? You could have gathered intelligence indefinitely, positioned yourselves advantageously within the conclave structure without revealing your capabilities. It was the same question Xandria had asked, though from a different perspective. Maya gave it the careful consideration it deserved. Because relationships built on deception inevitably collapse, she said finally. Earth sought genuine partnership, not merely strategic advantage, and because the risks of discovery increased with time, when the breach was eventually detected, as it inevitably would be, the consequences would have been far more severe than those we faced through voluntary disclosure. Pragmatic and principled, Drevto noted, an unusual combination. Not for humans, Maya said with a slight smile. We've learned through bitter experience that principles without pragmatism lead to beautiful failures, while pragmatism without principles leads to efficient atrocities. We strive for balance. Drevto made a sound Maya hadn't heard before, a resonant vibration that her translator didn't interpret. She realized after a moment that it might be the Saurian equivalent of thoughtful laughter. You continue to surprise. Ambassador Hill, I begin to understand why the Supreme Counselor has accelerated your elevation ceremony. So it's confirmed? Maya asked, allowing her interest to show. 3 standard cycles from now, Drevto confirmed. The preparations are already underway. I had assumed you were informed. I had indications, but not confirmation, Maya admitted. This is sooner than expected. The Supreme Counselor believes that prolonging the provisional status serves no useful purpose and may create unnecessary political tensions. Drevto's compound eyes studied her with evident curiosity. You seem surprised by the accelerated timeline. Does Earth require more time to prepare? Not at all, Maya assured him. We're ready whenever the conclave is. I'm simply adjusting my own diplomatic timeline. Their conversation continued for another hour, covering topics ranging from specific security protocols to philosophical differences between human and Saurian approaches to interspecies relations. By the time they parted, Maya felt she had established, if not an alliance, then at least a basis for productive dialogue with one of her most significant opponents. As she returned to her quarters, Maya reflected on the rapid developments of the past weeks. Earth had moved from rejected applicant to provisional member to imminent full partner in the conclave with unprecedented speed. The technology exchange was yielding immediate benefits for both sides. Even resistant representatives like Drevto were beginning to engage constructively. Yet, beneath these positive developments, Maya sensed currents of unease. The Supreme Counselor's acceleration of the elevation ceremony could indicate enthusiasm for Earth's inclusion, or anxiety about the alternative. Drevto's willingness to meet privately suggested either a genuine desire for understanding or a strategic repositioning as Earth's influence grew. And always, there was the fundamental question that had haunted human diplomatic efforts from the beginning. How much could Earth truly trust the conclave? The Alliance had initially rejected humanity based on outdated and incomplete assessments. It had sent military vessels into Earth's space without permission. Even now, with cooperation ostensibly established, Maya had no doubt that surveillance of Earth continued through channels she had not yet identified. Trust would come with time, she reminded herself. For now, vigilance remained as necessary as openness. The day of the elevation ceremony arrived with all the pomp and circumstance the conclave could muster. The grand ceremonial hall had been transformed, its already impressive architecture enhanced with holographic displays showing scenes from Earth, the sweeping vistas of the Grand Canyon, the serene beauty of Lake Baikal, the architectural marvels of ancient and modern human civilization. The 17 flags of the existing conclave members hung in their traditional positions, with Earth's blue banner now permanently added to their number. Representatives from all member worlds filled the tiered seating, their diverse physiologies creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. Maya stood at the entrance to the hall, waiting for the formal summons. She wore a ceremonial uniform designed specifically for this occasion, midnight blue with silver accents, incorporating subtle elements from the traditional formal wear of Earth's various cultures. Behind her stood a small delegation of human officials who had traveled from Earth for the ceremony: the Secretary General, the Defense Minister, and selected scientific and cultural representatives. Ambassador Hill, a protocol officer, approached, their translucent skin shimmering with formal patterns. "The conclave awaits." Maya nodded and led her delegation forward. As they entered the main hall, a harmonic tone resonated through the chamber, the traditional announcement of a momentous occasion. All eyes turned toward the human delegation. Supreme Counselor Terax stood at the center of the raised dais, flanked by the full membership of the Inner Council. His ceremonial robes glittered with embedded crystals that caught and refracted the light, creating an aura of authority around his imposing figure. "Representatives of the Galactic Conclave," Terax's voice carried effortlessly through the vast space. "Today, we witness a historic expansion of our alliance. Earth, a world once distant from our community, now joins as our 18th full-member civilization." He gestured toward Maya and her delegation. "Ambassador Maya Hill will now speak the words of covenant on behalf of Earth." Maya stepped forward, taking her position at the ceremonial podium. The words she was about to speak had been carefully crafted over weeks of negotiation, affirming Earth's commitment to the conclave while preserving the core principles humanity would not compromise. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity," she began, her voice clear and resolute, "I affirm our commitment to the shared prosperity, security, and advancement of all sentient beings within the Galactic Conclave. We bring our knowledge, our resources, and our friendship, offering them freely in the spirit of mutual benefit." She paused, looking out at the assembled representatives. "We recognize the wisdom accumulated through centuries of cooperation among the founding civilizations, while bringing fresh perspective from our unique evolutionary path. Together, we will build upon the foundations of the past to create a future greater than any of us could achieve alone." The formal affirmation continued for several minutes, Maya pronouncing each traditional phrase with careful precision. When she concluded, Supreme Counselor Terax stepped forward again. "The conclave acknowledges and accepts Earth's commitment," he declared. "From this moment forward, Earth stands as a full and equal member of our alliance, with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges therein." A crystalline chime sounded, once, twice, 18 times, symbolizing the now expanded membership of the conclave. As the final note faded, Terax turned to Maya. "As is our tradition, the newest member offers a gift of knowledge to the Alliance. Ambassador Hill, what does Earth bring to our collective wisdom?" This was the moment Maya had been preparing for since the accelerated timeline was confirmed. Earth scientists had worked tirelessly to prepare a technological offering that would cement humanity's position within the conclave, while demonstrating both capability and good faith. She gestured, and one of her delegation stepped forward, Dr. Eleanor Chen, Earth's leading expert on quantum physics. The scientist carried a small, crystalline data matrix, similar in appearance to the one that had contained the quantum positional transference technology, but glowing with a deeper, more intense blue light. Supreme Counselor, honored representatives, Maya said. Earth offers the complete theoretical framework and implementation protocols for advanced quantum resonance computing. This technology enables computational processes that operate simultaneously across multiple quantum states, allowing for the solution of problems previously considered beyond practical reach. She took the data matrix from Dr. Chen and presented it to Terax. Applied to medicine, it can model complex biological systems with perfect accuracy, accelerating treatment development. In astronomy, it can process observational data to detect phenomena at the edge of the observable universe. In material science, it can predict and design molecular structures with precisely targeted properties. Terax accepted the crystal, raising it so all could see. A magnificent gift, he acknowledged. One that will benefit all conclave civilizations. With one condition, Maya added, causing a ripple of surprise to pass through the assembly. Conditions on ceremonial gifts were unusual, though not unprecedented. Earth requests that this technology be designated as open knowledge, accessible to all member worlds regardless of development tier or political status, not to be restricted to core worlds or governed by preferential licensing. Murmurs spread through the hall. The conclave traditionally tiered access to advanced technologies, with newer or less developed member worlds having limited access until they proved their capability to utilize such knowledge responsibly. Terax's expression remained neutral, though Maya detected a flicker of what might have been approval in his eyes. The conclave accepts this condition, he said after a moment. The knowledge shall be open to all, with appropriate technical support provided to worlds requiring assistance in implementation. With this exchange complete, the formal portion of the ceremony concluded. What followed was a celebration that incorporated cultural elements from all 18 member civilizations: music, art, culinary offerings, and interactive experiences designed to foster connection across species boundaries. Maya circulated through the gathering, engaging with representatives from across the conclave. Most were welcoming, some still reserved, but all treated her with the respect due to a full inner council member. A masterful performance, Ambassador, Xandria commented as they paused beside a holographic display showing the neural patterns of various sentient species, a luminary art form that translated thought processes into visual patterns. Both the ceremony itself and the weeks leading to it. Not a performance, Maya corrected gently, though I understand why it might appear so. Your condition on the gift, that was unexpected, Xandria observed. Some will see it as a challenge to the conclave's traditional knowledge hierarchy. It was intended as a demonstration of principle, Maya explained. Earth believes that artificial restrictions on knowledge ultimately harm the community as a whole. We wanted to establish this position clearly from the outset. Bold, Xandria acknowledged, her skin pulsing with patterns that suggested both admiration and concern. The conservative factions will not be pleased. Change rarely pleases everyone, Maya noted. But I believe the benefits will become apparent quickly enough to mitigate resistance. As the celebration continued, Maya eventually found herself in a quiet corner of the hall, momentarily alone as she observed the diverse gathering before her. 3 centuries of observation by the conclave, decades of preparation by humanity, and finally, Earth had achieved its place among the stars, not through submission or supplication, but through strategic silence, followed by decisive action. Contemplating your victory, Ambassador Hill. The deep, resonant voice of Supreme Counselor Terax interrupted her thoughts as he joined her in the alcove. Not victory, Supreme Counselor, Maya replied. Merely a promising beginning. Terax made the subtle gesture that indicated amusement. Diplomatically stated, as always. But we both know that Earth has achieved something unprecedented in conclave history. forcing a reassessment of our most fundamental assumptions through a demonstration of power that never once resorted to violence. We prefer to think of it as a demonstration of capability, Maya corrected. Power has unfortunate connotations. Semantic distinctions. Terax dismissed. The reality remains. Earth possesses technologies we did not anticipate, accessed systems we believed secure, and leveraged both to achieve its diplomatic objectives. Many would call that victory. And what would you call it, Supreme Counselor? Maya asked, genuinely curious about his perspective. Terax was silent for a moment, his four eyes focusing on the celebration beyond their quiet corner. I would call it an awakening, he said finally. For too long, the Conclave has operated on the assumption that our understanding of the galaxy and its technologies was comprehensive. Earth has proven otherwise, and in doing so, opened new possibilities for all of us. Including yourself? Maya inquired, noting the personal nature of his observation. Perhaps especially for myself, Terax acknowledged. 300 years of leadership brings wisdom, but also the risk of calcification. Your world has reminded me that the universe remains full of surprises. A humbling, but necessary lesson. Maya nodded, appreciating his candor. Earth has had its own awakenings. The knowledge that we were not alone in the universe transformed our civilization in ways still unfolding. The rejection of our initial application forced us to reconsider our approach to interstellar diplomacy. Every challenge has brought growth. And now, Terax asked, what does Earth seek now that it has achieved full membership and an inner council seat? The same things we've always sought, Maya replied simply. Security for our world and people, opportunities to learn and contribute, meaningful connections with other civilizations, the chance to build something greater than ourselves. Noble aspirations, Terax observed, though without skepticism. I look forward to seeing how they manifest in practice. Ambassador Hill, the coming years promise to be interesting. Indeed they do, Supreme Counselor, Maya agreed. Indeed they do. As Terax departed to attend to other guests, Maya turned her gaze back to the celebration. 18 civilizations, countless worlds, billions of sentient beings now connected in a network of cooperation and exchange that included, at last, humanity. Earth had declared its intentions without firing a shot, and the galaxy had not only listened, but responded. The silence was broken. The real work could now begin.